Supposed to do it, right?
No, it is.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. It's been a while, but I'm back. And tonight I am joined by two friends, Karen Panzarella and Laura Mason. And tonight we actually have a bit of a serious subject to talk about, and that's domestic violence. As some of you may be aware by now, or maybe you're not aware, but Grand Island actually leads Erie County in the most reported domestic violence cases. So a group of us have come together and we're working on a new initiative for Grand Island, and we're working on that with the Family Justice Center of Buffalo. Tomorrow there will be an important meeting where we'll talk more about the details of this project, and that's going to be held at 7 o'clock at the Buffalo Launch Club on East River Road. It's right at East River and Bush Roads. But most importantly, we could sit here and we could talk about this and just talk about statistics, or we can get up and we can actually do something. And so that's why we have come together and teamed up with the Family Justice Center so that we can actually try and bring something tangible to our community and help those that are in need. Karen is actually on the board of directors at the Family Justice Center, so Karen, can you just tell us a little bit about why you became involved and what the Family Justice Center is?
Sure. I've been involved with the Family Justice Center for several years. It's an amazing institution where you could go at any time, anyone who's experiencing any type of unhealthy relationship. There is the main satellite in Buffalo, and there's also two other satellites in Amherst and in East Aurora. And anyone who's experiencing an unhealthy relationship, domestic violence, needs any type of advice, has services under one roof, which is very different for Western New York. So you don't have to go from one place to another to learn about your legal rights, to learn about how you can have access to counseling, to a comfort or a safe haven for yourself and your children. It's all provided under one roof. So the Family Justice Center is a unique setting, which there are several prototypes across the country, but in Western New York we're very fortunate to have a center as the Family Justice Center. The need in Grand Island is huge, and we would like to address that, adding a third satellite to the main satellite in Buffalo on the Grand Island property, where anyone who has any issues with domestic violence or an unhealthy relationship can go and get help and not have to leave the island. Will also be great access to folks in Niagara Falls and
Right,
Niagara County
County
as well, which is great. Which at this point, all of our centers are in Erie County, so there'd be easy access to those in Niagara County as well.
Right. Laura, do you want to talk about why you think this meeting is so important and why we need more people to come out?
Well, some of you may or may not know, but I have been a resident of Grand Island for many, many years. My dad was a police officer here as well. I remember growing up listening to him talk about any kind of call they had to go to was for domestic violence. In addition, myself, I have suffered from domestic violence myself. I've been a victim. Some of you may or may not know that about my life. But it was very difficult for me during a period of my life when I knew everybody. I knew the police officers that my dad worked with. I knew the judge. I had a lot of family and friends that worked for the town. And so I kept it very hidden and very secretive until one time I had an episode where I couldn't do it anymore, and I literally had to go downtown to get a restraining order, or to get pictures taken. I had to go to the court system on Grand Island, or I had to go in front of all my peers, and I was ashamed. And if I thought that we had the Justice Center here on Grand Island, it would have made it a lot more private for me and a lot less shameful for me. Because
How difficult was that process, just in terms of the steps that you had to take, and how you think that a satellite location here could maybe address?
So, for example, I lived with the violence for many years before I called the police, because I was concerned about people that I know knowing what I was living with. I kept it very secretive. Some knew, and so when I made the first call to the police, I almost immediately regretted it, and because they You know, my ex-husband at the time left, so he wasn't able to be arrested or anything of that nature. But my children, I had to find someone for them. I had to go down to the police station and make a report. I had to get photos taken, and then I had to go back and find out where my children were. And then I had to go in front of they eventually got my husband, and he did go to jail. And I had to go to the court system and stand in front of the judge and the whole entire community that was there for parking violations and whatnot, robberies, while I saw my ex-husband in handcuffs. And I stood before the judge that I knew and all my peers that were police officers at the time, and then had to talk to the lawyer about what to do. And in the end, we did anger management, and we tried to, and I went back with him. And then I never called the police again because I felt ashamed and embarrassed that I went back with him, and the abuse continued. Maybe not right away, but it continued. So if I thought we had the Family Justice Center here, I could go to one place, get my restraining order, see the medical professionals, and not have to see my peers, my husband, and feel judged, and know that there would be a place for my children to be that would be safe, and then they could give me to the appropriate people that could give me the things that I need. And I'm a healthcare professional, and you think that I would know better, but domestic violence does not.
This affects everybody.
Everyone.
In so many homes. Since I've become a part of this group and this initiative, it's really been an eye-opening experience. And besides some people in this group that are working on this project, some of my own close personal friends have come forward and opened up, and I've recently even witnessed some police reports being taken, and while I was in somebody's home listening to these reports, there was at least 2 or 3 calls that came in while that was being done, and those were all domestic violence reports. So we're trying to put something in place for our town that will prevent victims from giving up, so that when they're ready to take that step, they can go through with it all the way.
The feeling of shame is very common amongst victims of domestic violence, and probably the number one reason that things are not always dealt with appropriately, and that's the key to the Family Justice Center, is dealing with victims, not being judgmental, putting control and power in their hands to make decisions, and avoiding at all costs areas that will make them feel more shameful. And that's something that is very powerful to the folks that have utilized the services of the Family Justice Center. And our signature is purple, feeling hope and pride and self-control, and we're hoping that those signs can come to Grand Island to bring a lot of hope to those that are in need here in our community.
Right. And tomorrow, Karen is going to be one of the speakers, and Mary Travers Murphy is going to be there leading our meeting. She's the executive director of the Family Justice Center. Some of you may remember her from her days at Channel 7 as the Action 7 reporter that she did for many, many years. And then she also served as the supervisor of Orchard Park. And she's a fabulous, dynamic, informative speaker. So if you haven't had the chance to hear her speak and to speak, she's going to be speaking specifically about our area in this project. So we really encourage any of you to come out and become better informed and join our cause.
And all are invited, bring friends, neighbors, family members. We're looking for help in many different ways, but basically community support. We already have the initiative underway. We need more community support to bring it alive and make it happen and sustain the project here on Grand Island.
Right. Jackie says, you ladies are doing a wonderful thing, so thank you. But if you want to join us, we have a lot of room. We need volunteers and people who are going to be passionate about this. We do have some leads, or one good lead on where this could open, and negotiations are underway. But if that falls through, we might need another location. So we welcome more input and more ideas from from those in our community. Is there anything else you guys want to add before tomorrow? We don't want to give it all away because we hope
we
that
want
you'll
you to come
join
tomorrow.
us.
No,
7
but
o'clock.
Yeah.
this is all near and dear to my heart too, from my own personal experience. And you know, you take a bad situation and you make it a good one, and we're hoping to make this positive and to be able to reach out
Exactly.
and help others that, you know, are still struggling and going through it. And, you know, it may take you a long time, but know that you're not the only one and that there is support there for you.
And one way or the other, we are going to work hard to drive these statistics down. Okay, so again, community meeting tomorrow, 7 o'clock at the Buffalo Launch Club on East River Road.
Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Thanks.